Heidi M. Thomas grew up on a working ranch in eastern Montana, riding and gathering cattle for branding and shipping. Her grandmother rode bucking stock and rodeos, and her parents taught her a love of books. She followed her dream of writing with a journalism degree from the University of Montana. Heidi is the author of the award-winning Cowgirl Dreams novel series and Cowgirl Up, a history of rodeo women. That's so cool. Seeking the American dream and finding true home are stories based on her mother, who immigrated from Germany after World War II. She is a member of the Central Arizona Writers, Arizona Authors, Arizona Professional Writers, and Women Writing the West. Reading from her latest publication, From Goth-girl to Cowgirl. Let's give Heidi a warm welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Shall I stand or sit?
What do you feel best doing?
Yeah, maybe I can see a little better.
Yeah.
Sit.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that loud enough for everybody?
Okay. Goth-girl to Cowgirl. It's a spin-off from my rescue series, 3-book trilogy there. Okay. Nothing in her short life prepared her for this emptiness. Electra leaned against the corral fence, picking at her black nail polish. The realization had hit her yesterday as she and her mom flew over the sparse, maize-colored prairie of eastern Montana. Even the endless sky was empty, not even a wisp of cloud. They'd come to the end of the earth for their so-called vacation on the dude ranch. She sneaked glances at the 3 other women and their young daughters getting ready for the ride. Her mom, Alberta, rubbed the face of a big brown horse and ran her fingers through its mane. She actually looked like she enjoyed this. Was she pretending for my sake? Horses. Where did Mom get this stupid idea? Because she took a few rides in Central Park when she was a kid, she thought Electra would love it too? Not. A soft voice broke into her loneliness. Would you like to try getting to know Ginger? She's a nice, gentle horse, nothing to be afraid of. The woman was Sam Moser, their instructor. Electra snorted, turned away, and slouched to the barn. She heard her mother apologizing, of all things. I'm sorry about Electra. Ever since her father, she huffed again and slipped into the dark interior where she slumped onto a bale of hay. Settling down, happy that it pricked her legs through her jeans, she bit her lip until she tasted copper, anything to keep from crying. Her father. How could he abandon her? Hadn't she always been his favorite, Daddy's girl? The shadowy gloom in the barn closed around her, and the night of that awful accident flooded her senses. The police bringing Dad home, telling Mom and her that Jimmy was dead. Her mother's screams, the immediate wish that it had been her, not her brother, that had her bestie, even if he was Mom's favorite. Then her dad leaving because he couldn't handle this anymore. She dug her nails into her arms hard. The sharp stabbing pain felt good. For a moment, the inside hurt subsided. Early the next morning, she slipped from beneath the covers, put on her black socks emblazoned with skulls and crossbones, her black baggy pants and sweatshirt, spiking her short ebony hair in the bathroom and reapplying her signature white makeup and black eyeliner. She crept, carrying her black Doc Martens, out the door of their cabin. They call it rustic, I call it corny. She didn't care where she was going, only that she had to get out of there. Horses and cowgirls, ugh, some vacation. After lacing up her shoes, she clumped down the road. Surely somebody would come along and give her a ride to the airport. Walking for what seemed like miles, she ran her dry tongue around her teeth, trying to work up a bit of saliva. I should have grabbed a bottle of water from our mini fridge. Her dusty Martens pinched her feet and her legs burned. Dark, ghostly shadows hovered in her periphery as her mind kept returning to her bleak life without Jimmy and Dad. She saw herself walking the dark hallways of their New York apartment, counting her steps, tapping lightly 3 times on her brother's door as she passed his room. Remember, remember, remember. It was her own private ritual. If she did that, maybe he would come back. If she didn't, she dug her fingernails into her flesh again. The rumble of an engine crept into her awareness. She swiveled her head to catch a glimpse of a battered blue pickup truck, as they called them out here in the Wild West. Oh good, a ride to town. The vehicle came to a stop beside her. The driver leaned over and opened the passenger door. Going somewhere? That Sam woman. She scowled into the pickup. You. Yep, it's me. Hop in. I'm not going back there. Why not? Your mother's going to be worried. A snort was the only response she could think of. Not too likely. The woman kept speaking in that low, patient mom tone. Listen, get in. I'm in a bit of a hurry to get to Miles City. I don't have time to take you back to the Dude Ranch right now. I'll call and let your mom know that you're with me and you can come along, okay? Reluctantly, she nodded and climbed into the cab, slamming the door. They rode in silence for a while. Electra avoided Sam's gaze and hunched against the door. You ever been around horses before? Head shake. So this wasn't your idea of a fun vacation then? She snorted again. What do you like to do for fun? Fun? She shrugged. Well, I happen to love horses. Sam chattered away. I adopted a racehorse that was going to be put down, and I want to breed her and raise thoroughbreds on my ranch. Electra curled her lip in a sneer and peered at the woman from half-closed lids. She appeared several years younger than her mom, early 20s maybe. She wore her chestnut brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, and her brown eyes sparkled as she talked. How can she be so chipper when my life is in the dumpster? Right now I'm going to check on a horse outside Miles City that's been abandoned and starving. I'm really worried about him, and I want to at least get him some feed until I can figure out what to do. While Sam called Electra's mom to tell her where she was, she stared out the side window at the empty miles of prairie. Miles City, a city. Good. They probably have an airport. She fingered her mom's credit card in her pocket. As they crested a hill and coasted down into a river basin, the tiny town looked nothing like a city. She gulped. Did it even have an airport? Maybe not. She and Mom had flown into Billings, not that big a town either. Disappointment settled like heavy netting on her shoulders as they drove on through and out into more nothingness. A half-groan, half-growl reverberated in her throat. Great, I'm stuck here. Here's the pasture and the windmill where I found him yesterday. Sam steered the pickup off the main road over a cattle yard and approached a wooden tower with a fan of big blades on top. Parking beside a large plastic tub, she got out, and with a hand shading her eyes, scanned the bare ground, the pasture. Electra frowned at the unfamiliar terms and equipment. Oh, the horse, maybe that's where it drank. Only a pool of scummy water at the bottom, though. She curled her lip. Didn't appear all that appetizing. Sam gasped and strode past the windmill toward the brown lump in the near distance. Then Electra realized what she was seeing. A horse lying on the ground. A dark claw squeezed her brain, and a creepy sense of floating came over her as she got out of the vehicle and followed the woman. The cowgirl tiptoed toward the brown horse and knelt beside him, feeling his neck. Electra stopped just behind the pair, her chest tight. A faint mewling sound came from her lips, and she clasped her hand over her mouth. She leaned down beside Sam. Her hurt shredded. She couldn't stand to see any animal suffer. Is he? Then the horse peered at them from an eye-crusted half-shut. Sam gave an audible sigh of relief. Oh, thank goodness he's alive. She crooned to him as she stroked his face and neck. Oh, baby, how you doing, boy? Are you all right? As though drawn by a magnetic force, Electra reached a tentative hand out to touch his soft nose. He lifted his head and nuzzled her hand. A feathery sensation tiptoed along her arm. A tear tickled her cheek. He's alive. With great effort, the horse gathered his legs beneath him and struggled to stand like an old man rising from a chair. Sam stood, brushed the dust from her knees, and patted his back. Her whole body shaking, Electra ran fingers along the big animal's neck. She swallowed, pushing dread and fear and regret past a dry mass in her throat. Good boy, Sam kept talking to him. Oh, I'm so glad you're not dead. You can even get up. Come on, baby, I brought you some food. The horse blew and gave himself a weak shake, loosening some of the dust. On wobbly legs, he followed them back to the fence where Sam grabbed a pail full of some kind of tan oblong pellets and unloaded a bale of hay. She extended her hand, palm flat with several of the pellets. Cake, she explained. The horse bared its teeth but softly closed large lips around the treat and crunched loudly. Cake? That didn't resemble or sound like any cake Electra was familiar with. She grimaced, imagining those huge teeth grabbing her hand instead. Sam went to the windmill and pulled a lever. The big fan up top began to move and water trickled from a pipe to fill the tub. Open-mouthed, she marveled at the process. So that's how they got water for their horses out here. She shifted her gaze to the horse. His ribs showed through his dusty brown coat, and his legs wavered a bit as he stood, his eyes half closed, eating a bit of hay. She took a step closer and caressed his neck, surprisingly soft and smooth, despite the caked-on sweat and dirt. Her heart compressed and wrung tears into her eyes. An engine rumbled, and in the distance she saw a cloud of dust approaching with another not too far behind. A red sports car pulled up beside Sam's beat-up pickup, bass rhythm rattling the chassis. A kid in his late teens got out. His sandy hair stood up in spikes. Several earrings glinted from his ears, and he sported low-slung baggy jeans. Electra snorted again. One of those too cool for school wannabe skater types. A blonde woman drove up behind her in the SUV, got out and nodded to them. Sam waved. Hi, Teresa, thanks for coming. Hey, that's my uncle's horse. The kid swaggered toward her. What you doing here? The cowgirl moved forward. What's it look like? I'm feeding your starving animal, the one you've been neglecting. Nah, lady, you got it all wrong. That old neg's always looked like he's about to die. I've been out here. He already had feed and water. He's doing fine. That's because I left it for him. The young woman pinched her lips and swallowed hard. Was she about to punch the dude? Go for it, Sam. He's almost dead. He was on the ground when I got here, could barely get up. I don't call that being taken care of. I don't think it's any of your business. The kid smirked, reached in his side pocket on his voluminous pants, and pulled out a pack of cigarettes. He tapped one out, flicked a silver lighter, and took a deep drag, all the while eyeing the three women from half-closed lids. Electra glared at him from squinted eyes. What a punk. The blonde woman spoke up. Now see here, there's no need for attitude. We're simply concerned for this horse's welfare, that's all. I'm the one who first noticed him. I spoke to the sheriff on the phone, and he said you had promised you were taking care of him while your uncle was in Europe. She gestured at the brown horse, but he doesn't look too good. That's an understatement. Electra picked at her black nail polish. Sam leaned against the fence post. Say, what's your uncle's name? Do you think he'd be willing to sell the horse? The kid shrugged as he blew a cloud of smoke. He pulled a cell phone from his pocket and punched in some numbers as the ambled out of earshot. The woman made a face behind his back and shook her head at Sam. Piece of work, she muttered, and then glanced at Electra. Who's your friend? Sam made the introduction. Electra didn't reply, but busied herself combing her fingers through the horse's mane, trying to untangle the dirty knots and holding tears behind the half-closed lids. How could anybody let this happen to an innocent animal? The teen sauntered back to where they stood. Just talk to my uncle. Yeah, he'll sell. That's great. How much? $2,000. Electra jerked her head toward the kid. Big yikes, that's a lot of gosh. Sam's eyes flashed. That horse is not worth $2,000. You'd have to pay to have him hauled to the rendering plant. Teresa spoke up, her eyes narrowed. Give us your uncle's number. We want to negotiate with him directly. The kid shuffled his feet. Nah, no need. He says I do what I want with the horse. Listen, friend. Teresa had a no-nonsense expression on her face now. I'm supposed to report back to the sheriff on the condition of this horse. As bad as it appears to me, we can at least easily get a lawyer to draw out papers. Okay. The kid wiped his palms on his baggy pants. $1,000 then. I'll give you $500, Sam said. Take it, or we'll begin legal proceedings. Her lips flattened into a hard look. She looks majorly chapped. Electra swallowed a hard lump. The punk gazed down at his feet. He fumbled for another cigarette. What's it going to be? Teresa prompted. He crumpled the unlit cigarette in his hand and sneered. Okay, I'll take it. Sam smiled. You made the right decision. We need to write up a bill of sale right now. Teresa, do you have some paper? She went to the pickup and grabbed a checkbook. Teresa supplied a notebook and pen. Sam scribbled something and handed it to him. All right then, sign this and our business is finished. Teresa will notarize this and I'll send you a copy. She offered him the check. He stared down at it. How do I know it's good? Sam leaned closer, her face is inches from his. Because I say it is. This is my signature, take it or leave it. Either way, we're taking the horse. Okay, don't get your panties in a bunch. Kid smirked again. Electra clenched her fists, wanting so badly to take a swing at him, but she dropped her hands and took a step back. Probably couldn't whoop him anyway. He signed the paper, showed Teresa his ID, and she notarized the document, writing down his address in her notebook. Pocketing the check, he swaggered to his car and spun a cloud of dust as he peeled out. Electra's gaze followed the retreating vehicle. What a dweeb. If he was supposed to be caring for this horse and let him get this bad, no wonder Sam looked cheesed off. Teresa's eyes sparkled. We did it. And I'll stop there. I think that's my